So I thought I would do a video on my septum piercing just because I know like when I was researching I would look on YouTube and that was really helpful for me. And also I think people just like to know like experiences and pain and you know, what size and just, you know, research before they get one. And septum piercings are very like fascinating. I know I was always fascinated by it when I didn't have one, and I always kind of wanted one. So you know, if you're in that category, then this video is for you. Oh, and I'll also put in some close-ups so you can see, because I know like you may not be able to see that, or it's probably tiny, so I will put in some close-ups for you right now. So first, I guess I'll explain a little bit as to why I got one. Basically the reason why I got a septum piercing, and this is pretty you know, standard, is because I wanted one. I think they look really cool. I think they look really cool in all different types of people. I don't think you can really go wrong with a septum piercing, and I just really like how cool they look. They're so much different than just a regular nose ring or a nose piercing like on the side. And I love also the fact that you can like hide it, which I will get to later in this video, but that's basically why I got it as opposed to just a normal nose ring. I just saw a lot more like pros than cons, I guess, and yeah, I don't know, I just really like them. I think they look really cool and they're just different. Not everyone has them, but yeah, basically the reason why I got one is just because I like them, I like how they look, and I just wanted one for myself. As to where and when I got it done on February 12th. I went to a really good place that's like known to be really good when it comes to piercings and tattoos, and they're really good with really good reviews. So yeah, I will get into that as to why it's important to go to a good place, but I just wanted to expand a little bit on, you know, like why I got it, where I got it, and when I got it. So something that's very important that I wanted to make sure I address is I actually had or still have, it doesn't go away unless you get surgery, I have a deviated septum. So I was kind of worried in the beginning before I got my septum, like when I was thinking about it, that, you know, I had a deviated septum, I didn't want it to pierce crookedly, I didn't want even them to pierce it crooked, like I just didn't want that to happen. What they typically do if you have a deviated septum like I do, they will usually pierce it crooked, like on the inside, so it's straight like on the outside. However, my piercer actually pierced it slightly higher, and I think which is good. It has its pros and cons. I like that. I think I like that better than if he were to pierce it crooked, because you would still be able to see that it's pierced crooked and you would know. So like even if it's straight on the outside, you would still kind of know and kind of see from like the sides if it was pierced crooked, and I think that would bother me, and I think it bothers him too. He doesn't like doing that. I think he's a perfectionist as well, so he actually pierces it slightly higher. So I'm gonna explain sizing a little bit. When I went into the store to pick out my size, we were both thinking, because I have a very small nose, if you can't tell, it's so small, like narrow, like right here. And I also think that has something to do with the deviated septum, but like my nostrils are tiny. And so we both thought there was two sizes. He carries like the smaller versions. A lot of people go to him if they want like a smaller septum, whereas like a lot of places have like bigger septums. And yeah, I wanted, you know, something small, something a little bit more natural looking, as natural as a piercing can be on your face. So we looked at the smallest one and we thought, okay, that one would probably work. But then we got in there, and since I have a deviated septum, he pierced it higher. So it was so tight, it did not fit. Like all you saw were like the little balls on the end, and it was so tight, like he had to put in the bigger size. So with that being said, I feel like if I didn't have a deviated septum, the smaller one would have fit perfectly, especially because I have such like small nostrils. Now, the jewelry that I have in my nose is actually hypoallergenic, which is really good. It's very high quality jewelry, so it was expensive, but I'd rather have that in my nose than fake stuff. You're not supposed to put fake jewelry in your body, even your ears. If you've ever had like infected piercings in just areas, like even on your ears, that is why, because it's not meant to be in your body. Like, a regular piercing isn't meant to be in your body, so I mean, it makes sense why fake jewelry doesn't work. And for some people it does, a lot of people it doesn't. For me it never did, and now I understand, because you're not supposed to put that stuff in your body. You're supposed to, you know, get the good high quality stuff, which I can understand why not everyone does, because it is expensive. But I think if you're gonna be piercing your face, it's a good decision. Like, you probably should go to a place that, you know, is the high quality stuff for sure. I definitely recommend a place that uses a needle for sure. Needles are just so much like safer, and they don't hurt as much. Like, guns, like, that hurts. You're like piercing it by like shooting. Like, no, that actually hurts. That kills. Like, needles are so much less painful. I don't understand why guns are even like allowed. That's not even. Also, what I want to talk about is you'll know that your piercer knows what they're doing if they mention piercing the sweet spot. That's what you want to make sure, because if they don't, it's going to hurt like a bitch. The sweet spot is where you're supposed to pierce it, so if your piercer isn't piercing it there, then they probably do not know what they're doing. So make sure you go to a good place again. Okay, so now we'll talk about pain, because I know everyone always asks and researches about the pain. And this might surprise you, because I'm gonna say right now the pain was like nothing. It did not hurt at all. I do have a very high tolerance for pain, but that is not the reason why it didn't hurt. Like, I made sure that I was very aware of the pain. Like, sometimes if I don't want to feel pain, I'll just ignore it and I won't feel it. I don't know, it's weird. That's like a mind thing, I think. But this time I made sure, like, I'm gonna be aware of this. I wanted to give like a good review in this video and like make sure that I was being truthful and not sugarcoating anything. And so I just kind of like tried to make myself really aware of the pain and not ignore it. So honestly, it did not hurt. Like, if you go to a good place, if they pierce the sweet spot in your nose, which is like, it's so hard to show you, but like, it's like the skin right in between. Like, if you, I don't want to show you because that's gross and like some people think it's gross, but if you, like, there's like a wall in your nose, and if you go, I can't even show you, it's so hard, I just have to explain it, and then there's like a thicker part right here, like right there, like right on the end, right there. In between that is like the tiniest, like thinnest part of your nose, like skin. That is where they pierce it. That is where they're supposed to pierce it. That is called the sweet spot. The actual piercing part did not hurt at all. Like, there was no pain. It wasn't even uncomfortable. The only thing that was kind of uncomfortable was him just kind of holding the clamp. That didn't even hurt. It was just like slightly uncomfortable. Like, I didn't even feel it. Like, it was fine. One thing like that people never talk about is actually the healing process and like the pain after that. Like, the actual piercing part did not hurt at all. If they do it correctly, if they use a needle, it does not hurt, I promise you. And I think it's because of also where it is, because my one friend got his nose ring like on his actual nose done, and he said it hurt, but that makes more sense because it's like the actual, like, this is a thicker skin, like this is your skin of your nose, like that's your actual nose. Like, in here it's like this tiny little like piece of skin that they pierce. So the one thing that I will mention though is I did get a headache after that, and I think it's just because of the pressure. There is some slight pressure afterwards, after you get it done, and so if you are prone to headaches like I am, you may want to bring some Motrin or Advil or Tylenol, whatever you take. I didn't even think of that. I wish I had done that. If you are prone to headaches like I am, then, you know, bring some with just in case, because I think the pressure kind of made me have a headache afterwards. So that was really the only pain. So it's funny because my piercer and I were talking about this, like how I was just so surprised how it didn't hurt at all. Although I have a high tolerance for pain, I was expecting some pain. Like, I wasn't gonna completely ignore it. I was honestly expecting there to be some sort of pain, and there wasn't. And we were talking about that. I was like, so weird. Everyone always talks about and asks about and like the pain, and it's all so hyped up to be this huge like painful thing when it's not. And he's like, you know, he's like, yeah, like it's not even painful. Like, the painful part is the healing process, and I completely agree with him. That is the part you should be scared of. Well, not scared, but aware of. It's not the pain of the piercing, like the actual procedure. It's the healing process. It's afterwards. It's after you get the piercing. It's, you know, the healing process is the most painful. The healing process kind of started pretty much after I got it. Like I said, I got a headache. It didn't hurt for maybe like an hour or two, and then after it started to hurt, definitely. It started to throb, and I think it hurt for like a week and a half. It would just throb, and like obviously if you touch your nose it would hurt, but it's hard not to touch your nose. You shouldn't. Don't do it because it'll hurt more, but yeah, I get it. It's hard not to. It's just all in this area and it hurts so much. The healing process is the one that hurts like a bitch, okay? Like, don't even be worried about the like actual procedure, the actual piercing part, because that is nothing compared to the healing process. It even still kind of hurts sometimes. Like, it'll go through its like stages, like it'll just go through its times where like some days it doesn't hurt and some days it does. It kind of hurts now. Like when you move it, it'll hurt. So just make sure that you're doing what your piercer tells you to do about the healing process and all that, because you want to make sure you're as comfortable as possible, because yeah, the healing process can be very painful. Obviously it differs with some people, but for me it was, you know, it was painful, and you don't want it to get infected either. If you're not cleaning it or you're not doing what, you know, they say properly, then, you know, there could still be a risk of infection, even if you have like the best jewelry. You know, it still happens because your body is not meant to have piercings in it, so it's like, hey, what's this? Like, I'm gonna try and get it out of my body. Like, this is not supposed to be here, this is not natural. So it's gonna try, your body does kind of try to do everything it possibly can to get rid of it, and that is how you get infections, and it's just gonna kind of try and reject it. So make sure you're really doing what they say. My piercer, and this might differ, so don't just do what I do. Mine just told me to warm up some distilled water, so I use a mug, and then I just grab a Q-tip. So I obviously won't fill the whole thing up, I don't need that. I just, you know, do a tiny little bit, but this is the only thing that's like microwave safe that I have that's like relatively small. So I just fill it up a tiny little bit, enough for like the 2 nostrils, and I use a Q-tip and I dip it in a little bit. So I make sure that it's like, you know, hot and stuff, not cold. I do it right away, and I just kind of stick it up there and just like warm it up a little bit, stick it right near the piercing. Also, if they give you a spray or have a spray you can buy, I'd honestly suggest just buying that, because it's better to be safe than sorry. So I actually have one here. It's made with like really simple ingredients, like plant ingredients. It's just called Simple Care Piercing Aftercare. Oh, you can visit don'tpickatit.com for aftercare instructions. Now, during the healing process, you will get some crusties. And with a septum piercing, they are 10 times more annoying and hard to clean and disgusting than like when you get it on your ears. Because it's in your nose, and like every time you try and clean it, it looks like you're picking your nose, and they don't come off the like they're so like sticky almost. It's like disgusting. They also look like snot, so that's gross too. Someone may be like, ew, what is that? But don't worry, just tell them it's crusty. Like I said, they're kind of hard to clean, but what I found that works for me is I just put like, I cup my hands like this, and I put like warm, like really warm or like hot water, and sometimes I'll do this in the shower just because it's easier, but I'll just like cup it and like bring it up to my nose like this, and that kind of just like melts them away a little bit. So that's what I found that works. A Q-tip doesn't really like, I've tried a Q-tip before to get it out and it doesn't really help, so I just like kind of cut my hands and then like put my face in my hands and just kind of like melt it away in the shower. And that kind of goes to my 7th point, is just leave it alone. Don't touch it, don't play with it, just let it heal. I mean, I understand, like I know, trust me, like it's gonna be really hard not to, because it's like this brand new thing on your face. You know, it's small, it doesn't look like anything right now, but when you first get it, it feels like this huge thing on your face. For the first few days, if not like the first week or 2 weeks even, you're going to want to touch it because you're going to actually forget about it sometimes, and you're going to accidentally, you know, brush it, and it's going to be painful. So try your best not to touch it, and a lot of people touch it and just don't do it because you don't want infections. And also it kind of hurts when you touch it. Like if you keep playing with it, it will hurt, and you don't want that. So you don't want to damage anything. Like what happens if you keep picking at it and touching it? Like you can't see the actual piercing itself, like as opposed to like a nose ring or ears, like something that you can see. You can't really see it because it's up in your nose, especially if you have a deviated septum and get one higher like me. You can't see it, so you don't want to risk damaging anything because you, like, again, you can't see it, like you don't know what you did, so just don't touch it. Also be careful, especially when putting clothes on or off. Like clothes on and off, almost kind of off is almost worse because then you could just kind of like at the end of the day you forget about it and you're just like, oh, take it off, and you're like, ow. So be very careful of that, especially in the first few weeks. My 9th point, I guess, is just go to a good place. Even if that means you have to pay more, it's worth it. It's your face. It's a septum piercing, you know, it's your face. Especially if you have a deviated septum like I do, because you don't want to go to a place that doesn't know what they're doing. Or even if you have sensitive skin, again, like I do, because you don't want it to get infected. Honestly, I think that's more of a waste of money if you go to a place that's like relatively cheap and they have really cheap jewelry. It's not worth it, you know? Like go to a good place that has good jewelry. You don't have to go back. You don't have to, you know, buy new jewelry again because it broke or got infected. You don't have to take it out, and like that's such a waste of like time and money and just everything. Like you want to keep it, you want to keep it in. You don't want to have to take it out all the time. It's just annoying. So just go to a good place, even if that's more expensive, which it will be. It definitely will be more expensive. So make sure like you really want to do it and you save up money to get it done, and just do it right. So make sure you go to a place that sells the real stuff, not the fake stuff, and you're good. My other suggestion is definitely do some research before you go and get it done. I wouldn't say to get it done on a whim because you might regret it or you might change your mind, and that's not good because again, it's on your face. Like it's not like an ear piercing where, yeah, you can kind of just get those on a whim because it's just your ears, and that's very like normal. Everyone has ear piercings, but this is your face, and this is also like a piercing that not everyone gets. Like you see it more now, it's becoming a trend, but you don't see it every day, and you don't see it on everyone, you know? It's your face, so I would just really suggest that you do your research and make sure that you really want one. Like even wait. Like I waited for so long to get mine because I wanted to really make sure that I really loved them and I really wanted them, because like you can like them on someone else and really want them, but then you might not think it's you, or you might not really want it on yourself. So you gotta just, you know, sometimes with me, like I become like obsessed with something and I want it, and then I wait and I'm like, whatever. So and that wasn't the case with this. I've wanted this for so long and I still wanted it, so even after research, even after like waiting. So just make sure you do that. Don't get it on like a whim, don't get it spontaneously, because again, it's not like an ear piercing, it's your face, it's in your nose, so like it's like clearly right there. So yeah. So the last point I actually want to talk about is like the best thing about a septum piercing ever is the fact that you can hide it. If you get the one like mine, if you get the complete full ring, then you know you can't hide it. But if you get this kind, the half ring with the little balls on the end, you can hide it, and I will show you how to do that. So what you do, and what he told me to do, and I researched this before, so I already kind of knew, even though he was telling me. I was like, oh, okay, cool, but you know, I already kind of knew. But this is the correct way, and I will show you. It's fresh in my mind still. He told me exactly how to do it. So basically, you kind of like extend your face, like over-exaggerate your face a little bit to make like go like that. I don't even know how to explain that. You'll just have to like show, like you'll just have to see how I do it. Go like this with your face, like that, and you see how it kind of makes. I don't have a mirror. So I'll have to use a viewfinder, so I'm sorry, but it kind of makes that like, it kind of like opens it up and kind of widens your nostrils so that you can push it in. Because if you push it in like this, it's going to be kind of hard. See, it's blocking. I might do a close-up. That probably will help. You see how when you do this, it kind of like allows the ring to go in smoothly. Like if you do it like this, it can't really go because it's just like stuck. So make this face and then push it in. It will hurt the first few times. It still kind of hurts, but I think that might be because I have such a small nose. I'm not sure if it hurts for everyone, but it hurts for me, so. And make sure that it's like resting on the inside of your nose where that like little thing is. So there's like a little part of your nose on the inside where it goes like in a little bit. Make sure it's like resting there so you don't lose it. I mean, you can't lose it, but you don't want to like stick your whole your fingers in your nose to kind of get it. So make sure it's just kind of resting right at the top over there. And the only way someone will ever be able to see it is if they are like looking in your nose, which is really awkward, and normal people should not be doing that. So yeah, and then it's normal. And it's like you never had a piercing, so if you need to hide it for something, for school, for work, for church, for a job interview. Oh yeah, okay, and this, I guess, final conclusion is pain is the only thing that you are worried about, like the pain of the, like getting it done. Please don't worry about that. Like if that is the only thing that you're scared about, I'd say just get it anyway, because it is over in like a second and it doesn't even hurt. Even if it hurts, I don't know why it would hurt, but even if it does, it's over in like 2 seconds. I was complaining about the healing process, but honestly, it's not crazy bad. And you can also take like pain medication if you need to. But if that is the only thing that's stopping you from getting a septum piercing, then just, you know, get it. Honestly, I think sometimes like pain ends up being all in your head a little bit, especially when it comes to piercings. I think that's all I have to say actually. I can eventually do like a part 2 if like people have questions about it in the comments. So if you have any other questions that I didn't talk about, then definitely let me know, because I can do like another video. But I think this is just a good intro for it, especially for people that don't have one and they want one, if you clicked on this video. So I hope that helped you. I hope this was helpful. If it is, please give it a thumbs up for me. Comment down below questions if you have any, if I missed something, because more than likely I probably did and I'll be kicking myself for it later. But yeah, I think that is it. So I hope that you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!